I felt like I had to build the suspense on that one because we're going to be talking about something that is, oh boy, kids. I'm putting on the Batman red.
Straight up.
What's up,
This
everybody?
is red.
Oh boy, you're wearing a Red Hood shirt. For those of you who are,
I said that. I corrected it, but it's still Batfam. Still Batfam.
Is he?
You sparked by it. Of course he's Batfam.
I don't know.
Once Batfam, always Batfam.
The fans voted him out of being a Batfam.
Thank you.
But you have.
But my point is that you have to be part of the family to be voted out of the family.
Sure.
And once in Batman family, you don't leave Batman family.
Which? Sorry, who in the Batman fam was he wearing?
He's wearing Jason Todd, and he literally got voted out. That's why we're making fun of
Titans didn't do him any favors either. Sorry, man.
What do you mean?
It's over.
If you guys are telling me Under the Red Hood is not one of the better story arcs of
it's been tainted,
our
brother.
generation.
Okay, wait. Do you want to tell people what the story of Under the Red Hood is?
I mean, there's
the story of
she's like, no.
Todd coming back to life.
And what does he do at the beginning? What is he doing when he comes back to life?
He goes crazy, kills a bunch of people, then goes after Batman, which then goes after Red Hood.
Right. Okay.
That's
so
we're
establishing that he comes back as a murderous psycho, and that's how you want to say family. Listen, Dom Toretto would have killed that.
What happened? What happened? Batman literally went after him because he wanted to save his mom because he felt that it was his fault that everything happened, which it was. And frankly, who the hell would do all that work if not for their son?
I don't.
What?
I think.
Batman only does that shit for who he considers family. That's for sure. Because if not, Batman leaves you on the side of the road.
Ooh, I don't know. Batman has done a lot of stuff in the comic books to help people. Batman is a hero.
I mean, every hero has helped everyone that isn't family.
Yeah,
he also has, fail safes for every superhero that he goes by, so he knows how to kill them or get them out of the way.
Are we talking about Batman or Jason Todd now?
Well, it's a little bit of both when it comes to Jason Todd now, isn't it?
But
it's not about Jason Todd. It's about the Batman. That's what we should be focused
on. One point I want to point out. So Jason Todd, he was put into the Lazarus pit, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Ra's al Ghul and Talia, and then his actual son, like Bruce Wayne's son, right?
Yeah, Damian.
That's family. The Lazarus Pit is part
Ra's
of the family.
Whoa.
That's Damien's grandfather.
That's
Damien's grandfather. He's not part of the family.
By that same logic,
friends. You can pick your nose. You can't pick your relatives.
I don't even need to continue. I'm out.
Batman didn't pick Talia al Ghul, by the way. She tricked him. So let's not. Are we playing the Drake card? Are we playing the Drake card?
Life whenever he needs to.
Batman didn't put hot sauce in the condom, so
so
that's what's
bring that up.
Is that
I
what's
go
going
to a
on?
friend's place for a pool party. I jump in their pool and I walk out, and all of a sudden I'm part of the family.
Right.
Like that. That's exactly what you're saying.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean? Yes, Jonathan's just reaching now.
The amount of times the Lazarus Pit keeps coming up in Batman lore, even in Batman Beyond, Batman got into the Lazarus Pit, and he was like, "Yeah, I can't do this. This is not right. I'm messing with stuff, man. This is not right."
But again, the Lazarus Pit doesn't belong to Ra's al Ghul. He knows of it,
and there's multiple of them.
Right. And Legends of Tomorrow has the pit. Let's not pretend like this is some really important Batman.
I'm not taking that show seriously.
I'm just trying to say
one of the better shows they have.
I know, right?
I'm just trying to say that the Bat family, it's not going to be all perfect.
No, of course not.
I have a solution to the Lazarus Pit. Bruce Wayne just buys the land that surrounds it, builds on top of it. That's now his house.
That's folks. For those of you listening, that is the voice of Devin Shanks from Shanks Events. and he's here representing Nerdstock, who's our sponsor this week once again for Geektastic Cypher.
Yes.
Devin, you want to tell us June 4th and 5th is coming around the corner real fast, buddy. I didn't even realize it's March.
Up. It is getting crazy. We are starting to get bombarded with emails June 4th and 5th. But the biggest questions we've been getting is like, Devin, what is Nerdstock? Like, what is that? So basically, think of it this way. Think Woodstock and Comic-Con had a baby.
Yeah.
So it's a whole bunch of drugs and playing with action figures. That's
exactly.
Psychedelic action figure party. Yo, if you start putting that on posters, that shit sells out.
So basically,
I've been telling people the whole time. I remember you and I spoke about this, and you kept saying like people are asking you what is it, and I was just like, I don't understand what's so hard. Stock, as in Woodstock, has become synonymous with like music performances. Right. Nerdstock would have music performances of the nerd style, and like any nerd event, you're gonna have nerds showing off their nerd stuff. So you're gonna have tables. You're like, that just seems pretty easy to me. Nerds, it's not too hard.
Basically, the best way I've been explaining to everybody is like those who've traveled to the States and been to things like MagFest and PAX and stuff like that. It's pretty much exactly like that. You have the music element with the convention element. The reason why a lot of people up here don't really know about it, because it hasn't really happened up here. We have tons of conventions across the board, but we've never had a music fest con like they do in the States. Yeah. They're all over the place in the States from East to West Coast. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're trying to bring that concept up here, and believe it or not, it's going to be the first one in Canada.
Bong, let's do this.
What's happening here. And so
where's the location again?
Paradox Theater on Monk Street. It's a 2-day event. Tickets are already on sale. We have a new website that just got launched, which is www.nerdstockfest.com. The tickets for the weekend is $40, includes everything. And we're talking literally like if you want to see guests, get photos, there's no extra cost. It's all included. Live arcade game machines. We have... we got the Otaku Comedy Club coming. They're doing a game show. We got live wrestling happening. We will be crowning the first ever Nerdstock heavyweight champ.
Oh, that's dope. That's a dope belt.
So we got Mr. Spock. And speaking of Batman, the POW.
Nice.
Okay, so this is an actual belt replica. Like this thing is like the equivalent to like the WWE and stuff like that.
How much does it weigh?
I'm assuming, Dave, we're going to see a third one behind you.
It's the same thing. Like we're talking like genuine.
Yeah,
like,
I can see
here.
Where do you guys get them made?
This was custom made through the FML, the league that's going to be performing there on the Sunday. Okay. So basically what's going to be awesome about that is we're going to have 2 single matches, but we're going to have a Royal Rumble of 20 wrestlers. And the winner of that Rumble is going to be crowned the champ. And this belt will be defended yearly at every Nerdstock, which we plan to make a yearly event and also hopefully expand. The requests we've been getting have been unbelievable. There's a lot of people that they're finally realizing, oh my God, this looks actually super cool. So we have bands like Mega Ran coming. We got Word Burglar. We got Master Sword, which is performing for the first time in Canada. Double Experience is coming back. We got the Runaway 4 coming out from BC, like a pure VGA band.
Hit us with the website again.
Yeah, it's nerdstockfest.com.
Oh.
And I'm supposed to make an appearance as Jimmy Superfly Snuka. At this event. No.
Actually, what's happening with you guys is you're going to have your booth where you're going to set up and you'll be able to cast the weekend.
Yeah, man. I look forward to it. I'm looking forward to doing live podcasting, being there, talking to people, meeting all the nerds, doing some
interviewing the guests. Yeah. Some of our guests include like Jacques Rougeau, who's coming.
Ponto.
We got Ponto coming. We got a live Twitch, Andy the Frenchie coming. She's like getting huge on Twitch. She does like parody music. She's super funny. There's another big guest, which I think Dave would freak out about. I'll tell you after the show because it's not confirmed about, but it's it's in the wrestling element too. I'm just waiting for final confirmations.
If you can't, don't tease like that. That just gets people angry. No teasing.
No, get them in the door. That's how you do it. That's how I think.
If
when it's
anything,
wrestling,
Dave,
that's how you do it.
Dave, you're just gonna end up getting weird DMs from people being like, "Hey man, so what do you tell you after the show? What do you tell you after the show?"
And I'm gonna I'm gonna make this event big because I'm gonna make all sorts of names. And then awesome. when it happens, you guys will be also easily as shocked because of who it is.
That's awesome. Hey guys, it might be like the Batman show.
Super excited for it.
Yeah.
As excited as you were for the Batman, folks.
Oh,
good segue. Devin,
we all saw it.
Shift your cam so your banner is a bit more in sight there, you know?
Yeah, it's cutting off the K in stock.
Little K action before we start the Batman, you know? Trying to help you out here, bud. Looks like
I just want to tell
everybody. There you go.
Witchcraft.
I just want to warn everybody right now. If you are watching this, you are watching a spoiler-filled review of The Batman. We are going to be discussing the film. We've all seen it. We know who's who, who's what, what's when, why, who, why, where, what, when, how, Carmine, all of it. We know it all. We saw it all. A little too long, but that's going to be part of the conversation. Let's get into it, folks. I'm telling you, I don't want to hear any complaints. I don't want to see any nasty comments. I don't want people to be upset. We're going to be starting this right now. I'm going to put this across the bottom of the screen, scrolling as we start, folks.
All right.
We have the list. We have the. Toby came up with an outline for what we want to tackle first. Toby, I'll let you introduce.
Solid. All right. So before this movie came out, the last vision, the last thing we knew about Batman was from the mind of Zack Snyder. Leading up to this,
sure.
Well, we have to, unfortunately. Leading up to this,
I don't know.
We kind of have his own movies. Ignore it.
I ignore it. It's bad. It's bad. So.
Oh, man. We'll touch on that later. So leading up to this, we all kind of weren't really too enthused about a Batman movie coming out. And then they also announced who the Batman was going to be and the general sort of feel they're going for this new version of the Batman. As we got closer, some people started getting early previews of the movie, and we saw reviews coming out at 10 out of 10. 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. Not very many reviews below that, and most people were very enthusiastic. So what I want to ask is, what are our thoughts on the movie as a whole? Devin, since you're the guest, we'll start with you. Just as a whole.
All right.
And does it live up to those rankings and ratings you saw before we went?
All right. I went into this movie exactly the same mentality I did when going into Joker. I went in with low expectations, not expecting something. And when I came out of Joker, I was blown away. It quickly became one of my most favorite DC movies that came out today. As I walked into Batman, same thing, low expectations. By the way, Dave, you were sitting behind me the whole time.
I didn't even know that.
It's okay.
No way.
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
That is hilarious.
I did not. I was very focused.
Dave is in the movies with a trench coat, trying not to be seen. You know.
Well, I was going to say if it's a good movie, you don't even notice who's around you. I would say
exactly. That's true. Yeah.
So basically, I went in with the low bar, and I came out, and my total score on 10 would be a 7.5.
Wow.
I
actually
impressed.
would agree with you because that's what I feel like.
I was at first. I went 7, but then I had to reflect. I had to sleep on it 2 nights to really go over it because it was a long movie, right? It was like 3 hours, but yeah, 7.5, and I can explain why when we get into the details a bit after, like what worked and what didn't. But overall,
you feel like
the bar was set. The bar was way higher. And yeah, you're right. I saw a lot of 10 on 10s and this and that. I think the reasons why there's a lot of 10 on 10s because it's new for a lot of new watchers out there too. So to them, that's their new era of a Batman, and I can see why they gave him 10 on 10.
Right.
But my overall score is about 7.5, but still great movie. And yeah.
What about you, Joss?
So yeah, I remember this movie kind of had a big, like you said, Toby, it had a very long process to get to where it is right now. So originally, I think this was supposed to be a Ben Affleck movie, and then he kind of fell out of it, and then they kind of had to regroup and then not make it a part of the Snyder universe at all. So it was a lot of that going on.
After we kind of already got used to like this new universe they're trying to build, all of a sudden we're like, guess what? We're pivoting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Hard.
Is getting used the right word? After we all
expect,
we were settling into our new reality. How about that?
Wait. You know what? I would say we were reluctantly accepting crap and wanted more. Is that a better?
I
like
remember,
you said, it was originally supposed to like give us Ben Affleck's first foray into his own Batman movie.
And from what I remember, they said it was supposed to be more like a detective movie kind of style. So going in, I did hear about the like you guys saw me posting of hype train, because everything was coming in tens. And
but how did you feel like seeing the trailer and knowing?
I'm getting there. So I already had that behind me. So as I was sitting there and watching it, and I actually enjoyed it. I think I would give it more credit, but there's more to it. So I'd give it like a ranking of like 8, maybe 8.5.
Nice. I like that we're giving our ratings early because I know where this conversation's going. Then that's solid. Yeah. That's sweet. What about you, Merc? I'll get to Brian right after because I feel like he has more to say.
I feel like if I didn't like a Batman movie, I'd give it a different score. So one thing I'll say is, like all of you, I kind of went into this movie hoping that it was just gonna be a one and done. I was like not looking forward to this at all because I was just upset that they weren't doing other characters, right? But then going in and out of the movie, like it honestly beat like a personal expectation. And for me, which is stuff we'll get to later, is that I felt this was more catered. This movie I found was a bit more catered to comic book fans, as opposed to fans. So like, if I had to give a critical rating, I think it's 8.5. But as like my it's 8, an 8. Sorry, not an 8.5. I meant to say 80%. But that's why I think a critique version of me would say. But considering I am a nerd and whatnot, I put this somewhere between like a solid 9 and potentially higher. To me, it's going to depend how the movie ages.
Yeah.
And the thing for me about the movie is that it's because on high notes,
we're about to go real down right after this one.
They set a bar, and I like personally that it was a Batman movie about Batman, not about Bruce Wayne. Yeah, and that's something I personally wanted for a very, very, very long time. Which
you know what's funny about that statement?
My thought.
What's cool about the statement you made is that I actually thought about that as well. Like leaving the movie, I'm like, oh, I got to see him a lot as Batman, and I really kind of enjoyed his take on Batman. But I was like, I can't even really judge as Bruce Wayne because there wasn't much in Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that's not even there. Get into afterwards.
He was like a child. It was like a child.
Slow down, Toto. Slow down. We still need.
You're right. To
finish.
I felt like I wanted to keep it on this positive note before we go to this direction, but.
Until we get to the stock market crash over here.
We went from a 7.5, to an 8.5, and now to a 9 potentially. How do you feel?
I just want to understand why everyone thinks that I'm going to trash this movie.
Because I don't know. It could be
because we know
faces you were making while we were talking.
We've seen you talk about other shows.
I watch you on the weekly, Brian.
Is it potentially because of the weird turns and decisions Batman makes? Is it the slightly odd acting from certain people that I won't name until we get into a deeper review?
Okay.
Is it the lack of balance between Batman and Bruce? Are those reasons you guys think I would unfairly judge this movie? It's not unfair.
Those are your words. That's not our words. We didn't say any of that, man.
I didn't. We didn't say any of that shit, dude.
We did not give any of that setup for you at all.
I'm curious what has happened between your.
Hold on.
Dave,
let's hear him out.
Didn't Dave just say?
Mm-hmm.
Like, didn't you guys just say it was nice to see more Batman, less Bruce? Doesn't that sound like an uneven statement in a Batman movie where Bruce Wayne is an important character?
No,
because I don't know about you.
In the not at all.
I'm just asking.
Get that into the deeper review.
I'm only asking because as someone who reads the comic book, I always saw a good balance.
Okay,
Zero Year to me was a balanced story, and then this movie comes out. and I give it an 8 on 10 because it's actually really good. That's all I
I was about to say.
Look at this. Look at this guy getting heat on himself, getting all the heat.
It's a solid movie. The acting was fun. The characters were fun. It was a great Batman movie. I don't think it's a good Bruce Wayne movie. That's something I'll definitely say.
It's called The Batman. I know why now.
Yeah. You know, and I'll talk about my thoughts on Alfred and Paul a little bit later, but I have some comments as to where I think the movie could have gotten those extra points that IGN magically just tossed at them for just making the movie.
I mean, I get that this is the first like actual Batman movie we've gotten since like the Christian Bale series. I understand that, and maybe people are feeling like, oh, it's a little like giving it a 9 or a 10 is we've seen 10s.
Yeah,
like, if we've seen movies that are potentially 10s. Yeah, I don't even think it's a 9 or a 9.5.
But like again, one thing I'll say as a comic book nerd, right? Not as an average fan. So we're talking about the people who like are super Batman nerds and whatnot. Like
I would say as a Batman nerd too.
Yeah, as a Batman nerd. Yeah, exactly. Like specifically Batman, and especially how Batman's written and whatnot, and how this movie felt like almost how Sin City felt. It was like you're reading a comic book as a Batman fan.
Great comparison.
It was very, very on par, and that's why I coined the phrase to people. I'm like, as a nerd or a geek, what have you, this is not the Batman movie people wanted. It's the one. It's the one we needed. It's the one that we deserved. Like, you know, I want to use the Dark Knight quote. It just slipped my mind for a second, but like, it's it's exactly that. It's not the Batman movie we wanted, but it's the one that we deserved. It's the one that we needed to like to set a new precedent, because I find now there's been precedences throughout time of what it should be, and that people always stray away, and then we have to bring them back. Michael Keaton had a precedent. Then we went away, and then Dark Knight put a precedent.
Yep.
Then we went away, and this Batman movie's like, no.
There was
I'm okay. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to just to add on to Dave's, you know, those 3 particular movies had a precedent. I remember I saw a meme, and it's Dr. Manhattan on Mars. So it's the comic, and it's a 3-panel meme, and it's basically him saying, in 1989, I was a child, and I saw a dark, gritty reboot of Batman. And then the next panel is him still sitting on Mars, and it says, I was a teenager going into young adulthood in the 2000s, and I saw a dark, gritty reboot as exactly.
Wait, finish it though, because people can't hear what that says. So
I saw a dark, gritty reboot, and then it's 2022. I'm 40 years old, and I'm watching a darker, grittier Batman movie. That is scarily extremely accurate.
Yeah, that's one thing. As millennials, we've gotten to enjoy 3 good tellings of Batman. In that time, we haven't got a good Superman. We haven't gotten a solid. I mean, I'm just saying,
Man of Steel was a good. I don't care what people say.
I love Man of Steel. I'm sorry. I don't care if people hate it. I
Man of Steel was good, and Wonder Woman was good, except for she dropped the ball at the end.
But we're not talking about Superman.
No, but I'm just saying. I wasn't finished, but we haven't gotten a good like franchise from these movies.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We've gotten multiple Batman franchises that have, unfortunately, like Jaws said, whimpered out sadly. But the original pieces, that Keaton film, that the Nolan stuff, well, Nolan never whimpered out, and thankfully they were smart enough not to connect it to that DCEU, because that was one of the ideas at first. And then this one, Pattinson, oh boy, did I not want Pattinson. I just kept saying, get this Edward Cullen out of my house the whole time. And then this bastard, I audibly said in the theater,
learned, right? If
something was right,
is that whoever for some reason, I think casting has been getting it right a lot lately on character actors. You know, I think that's something they've gotten really good at in that industry. You also pointed out year 0 or 0 year earlier in terms of like comic book inspirations. Which ones do we think they drew inspiration from as a whole? Like there was a lot, in my opinion.
Actually, I have a good one for that one. It's not the same era, but Gotham by Gaslight. The reason why Gotham by Gaslight, because it was more of the darker noir detective style. Yes. And I found the presence that he portrayed as Batman in there was a very close resemblance to like the quieter, more cautious taking detective of the that series.
Bats doesn't talk a lot in this movie. That's the crazy part.
That's what I thought.
He might have only had like 100 lines.
Gaslight.
Yeah, it's like the word economy for Batman in this film was kind of crazy.
Which makes sense because he's supposed to be, everyone's like, oh, this guy's weird and he's just a jerk. And then like in the comics, when it's Dick Grayson being Batman, everyone likes him way more. He's not antisocial. He's nice. Everyone's like, this guy's this is not the same dude. He's way nicer. They make it a really big point to show like that difference between Bruce.
Funny you say that though. I feel like that's why I was more scared for this version of Bruce when he showed up. Because he hasn't figured out the separation of character yet. Exactly. And he's still Batman-esque in his Bruce Wayne. Which makes him more like, if I was standing next to him as Commissioner Gordon at the funeral, I'd have been like, man, your chin looks familiar. Like I feel like
your voice, your mannerisms.
Exactly. He hasn't figured and that's where I think what's great about this is maybe it shows us like a true evolution into the Bruce Wayne character.
Yeah, but
like he has to figure out his Superman.
That's what I think's gonna happen.
My thing is, I don't want to see Batman constantly having to grow up. Batman's.
Well, we're talking about Bruce Wayne growing up, not Batman.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is this. I'm saying that this is the movie.
Hold on, Dave. Hold on, because that's the problem, though. Mm-hmm. We've seen Peter Parker's Spider-Man every time evolve as he grows older, even though in the last movie he still doesn't seem to have learned any lessons. In this one, that was one of the reasons I can't give the movie a 10 on 10. Batman, great. Bruce Wayne, though, being this moody kid who still seems slightly depressed, and like the line about him being the bigger recluse than Carmine, I was just like, the
understanding I had about this movie was that this is his second year as Batman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's not like, oh, I got this figured out. He's still like, there's parts in the movie where he's just like, I'm gonna use this flight suit. I hope it works. And then
that was funny.
He doesn't even understand that there's a low hanging bridge. Do not pull the chute.
Yeah,
but that's why I went.
Great.
That's why I went the 7.5 route, because I wasn't sold by his Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I just wasn't sold by it, and
I get it.
I understand that. I think he was playing too much of the little angry emo kid, rather than
much though. I mean, we expect everyone to just be over their parents' death in a certain period of time.
Yeah,
well,
for me,
it happened when he was 8. He's 28.
Yeah, that happened like 20 years ago.
It's 20 years, and you haven't processed your parents' death.
Probably not. That's all the family he had. He has no one except for one guy.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the whole point. Bruce Wayne, I mean,
and he doesn't even see Alfred as family in this movie still until Alfred gets hurt.
Yeah,
that was the other thing that bugged me too.
But in this 20 years, like Bruce Wayne has to be able to like manage this 20 years later and figure out how to manage it. And in the comic book he never does, and that's one of the problems.
I kind of feel that was brought up also in Batman Begins. And it took him a long while before he's like, okay, I'm going to dress up and do this thing. He was straight up going to just shoot the guy that killed his parents. Yeah. And he didn't know how to fight. He didn't know how to do anything.
Right. Yeah.
And he was still angry about his parents. And then when he finally came back and he got tutelage and he got focused and stuff, he started like, okay, I got rid of the League of Assassins. Let me try to do what they were doing, but not kill people, not do this.
This is a great point.
I feel like this was more about him just he's still like, oh, I need to be angry. I need to just beat people into the ground. And like, he's still figuring it out. And even in the monologues throughout the movie, he's like, I'm still trying to figure this out. And I didn't figure this out. I'm still trying to figure. And then at the end, he's like, I think I got what I need to be now, because holy crap, I'm seeing everyone doing the exact same thing I'm doing, but I think I need to do this. But no, that's not the right way. Everyone's looking at what I'm doing and say, yeah, let's do that. And he's like, no, I shouldn't be doing that at all.
Yeah, that was a little concerning that they said he wants to be Hope. I don't ever want Batman to be the example of Hope.
No,
Batman's not Superman. Hope is Superman's whole idea.
Yeah.
It's Hope. Batman should not be Hope. His whole thing
but then probably there's no Superman in this universe, so
But
you know,
but I think
Yeah, but that don't that then you're just turning into the CW. You don't have Batman, so you put everything on Green Arrow. Like,
I think the reason he says that is because he sees the little boy that lost his dad, and he sees himself in that kid, and also, he never had hope.
Yeah, and also the criminal literally said,
"Yeah,
I am vengeance." That's why. Like, that's why I think
because the whole movie he's been going around. Yeah, he's been going around calling himself Vengeance. People are calling him Vengeance. He doesn't go by the Batman. Riddler calls him the Batman as a joke.
Yeah.
Because you're a guy dressed as a bat to the Batman. That's the only reason and the only way we heard the Batman. So I'm not sure if I like that, but I get it. The only thing I will say is, what if we didn't get public Bruce this movie? Because like Rain said earlier, the only reason we even saw Bruce Wayne in public was because he went to the funeral to investigate. So he hadn't even, he's not out of Batman mode. We were still seeing Batman without his mask on.
One thing I thought about this movie was trying to do, and it's what I think is being, some of the points are drastic ways of doing this, is what you guys are bringing up, is that I think this movie was really trying to design the concept that there is no Bruce Wayne. There is a Batman, and Bruce Wayne is a mask. And I think that's what the movies are going to evolve it to.
Sure.
To really prove what it is.
No, that's a different approach than what we're used to.
They're being
very different. What Jaws said, Jaws' whole point was that in Batman Begins, we saw that. The difference is, though, in Batman Begins, he becomes Batman after the tutelage, after all the stuff. He's processed what's going on. He's already attempted to murder the man who killed his parents, and now this Batman is starting without going through that stuff, and that's where I didn't like it, because I don't like this.
Can I counter that for a second?
But it's just it's you don't have to counter it. This is my personal opinion.
I get it.
I don't think Batman after 20 years has to maintain the weight of his parents' death that way. And I think it's problematic to keep telling that version of the story, because it tells people he never but
that's how he was for year one, though.
We always talk about
that's how he was.
We always talk about Batman and Bruce Wayne being this broken, like a psychopathic. He's got a bunch of different tendencies that really all add up to mental illness, right? And obsession, right? With specific things. So the Batman we got in Batman Begins, for me, didn't really have that broken aspect to him. He's already worked through those issues. He's not that dark knight that I read about in the comics, in my opinion. He's a great Batman. It's a great movie. Darkness come out of him is because Rachel died, right? Like, her dying in that explosion is kind of what makes us see that's but this Batman is still broken. We can see the obsession. We can see him going down the deep dark hole. The only moment he actually comes out of that dark hole is when Riddler really says, like, no, you're the reason why I'm doing this. Like, I've seen what you're doing to people and how you're going about it, and I realize I just have to go and take what I want. So I think he's also, like, still figuring out, like Jaws said, how to be that version of Batman that still strikes fear, but at the same time, it's just like people know he's there to help them.
Yeah, but then he had that light switch that went off when Riddler turned around and said, "Hey, it was because of you. You helped me this whole time doing all this. I asked you to bring him into the light, and you brought him into the light."
You know what, though? I'll give you that point then. He's easy to manipulate.
Something else I wanted to bring up as well.
100%.
Something else I want to bring up as well is that, is his tendencies, is his stuff hereditary? Because we also find out that his mom was in and out of mental hospitals. That was a pretty interesting
that's a big I
that was a big drop.
I also think
really good point.
That's huge.
Really
that's
good
huge.
Point. Yeah,
and I don't think we've ever gotten that before, right?
No, I've never seen that
sort of mental. That was pretty good. I
you know
like
what though, Jaws, you're right. You hit that deep three, because if that's the direction they're taking, in which Bruce Wayne is hereditary, has mental illness in his family, and this is him with mental illness as Batman, I'm down.
And the crazy trigger for it is that his parents have to die. Oh my god,
I'm down.
His grandparents killed either one of them committed suicide and the other one killed the other person. So the two parents died, and this woman went, like had to be in and out of mental hospitals.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's like
kinda
the
goes
trigger
I'll give it to
that
you.
does that, which is like,
give it to you.
wait,
So here's the thing.
whoa.
and it's his dad's side that makes him a hero.
They might have
We
done
don't
that
know.
on purpose, right? They might have actually included that plot device on purpose, but I think that backstory was inserted for a different reason. And that's kind of what I feel is setting up a sequel, because they just planted the seed of the Arkhams and the Waynes being the super powerful family in Gotham. And that's kind of a foreshadowing to the Court of Owls.
Sure. I'm
Possibility.
totally down for
So
that.
I feel
But
like that's
Jaws
why
is-
we heard that story. But
to
Jaws'
Jaws'
story makes
point,
perfect
though,
sense.
2 generations of murder, suicide, stuff like that. That I didn't even look at it that way, and I have to 100% admit, if you're gonna look at the I think the story was the mother killed herself and the father killed it, whatever. The grandparents, like you said, murder, suicides, weird type situation. The mother went through mental illness, multiple hospitals. Then she gets killed. Bruce is the kid. Bruce doesn't deal with his mental illness, witnesses his parents being dead, grows up, it has completely disassociated himself from emotions with people, starts dressing like a bat, doesn't deal with his emotions, and is emo. That's the only way I can accept him being this kind of character.
I think it's there on purpose.
That's fair.
I think it's there on purpose for that reason too. I totally agree. And the
Unless they didn't
mother,
think of
the
it
thing is,
that
the
way,
mother. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I hope
unless they actually didn't think of it like that, and they were just using that as a cover-up story.
No, this movie was this movie was too calculated.
It was very
That's how I feel.
Actually, what I love about that theory too is this really brings a more realism to the story. And if they stay away from this, the more of the fantasy side, and keep him more in this realistic approach, I think we're in for a roller coaster of some.
Well, this is 1989 all over again, right?
Yeah.
It's more grounded in reality. The Joker kind of maybe give them the blueprint for it, and they kind of ran with it with this movie. And I want to continue seeing that. Matter of fact, moving on further into the story, I love this version of Catwoman because she's not a cat woman. She's just a woman who has a lot of cats, who happens to know how to fight and move and do a bunch, right? She's just a person.
Yeah.
I really love this take. There's no meow. There's no
good
none
fighter.
of that shit.
And a good fighter.
Exactly.
Like
what was funny, I was listening to a podcast like just before all this talking about it, and they were really getting into it. And something they pointed out was that it was really so one of the guys on the podcast was watching Batman Returns with his daughter, and his daughter is like what, 5? And she's like, is Catwoman dead? And he's like, no, not really. And so did the cats hurt her when she was dead? Like she's trying to make sense of how Catwoman becomes Catwoman.
You can't make sense of it.
He's like, just ignore it. Just don't worry about that.
You literally
and then
have
also
to
that
ignore it.
Catwoman movie
goes
with that. But then they're like, oh well, there's a cat goddess and breathes her back to life. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
no,
just ignore
reality works for this
because that wasn't a thing in the comic books. Like
Tim Burton.
Selena Kyle is not like Black Panther with Boss. Like I don't understand why
she was originally a timid woman. And then she gets killed, and the cats come, and then she becomes, I'm confident.
I get that. I just don't understand at any point why they started adding cat gods into the lore, or cat Michelle Pfeiffer did an excellent job with the character. Don't get me wrong; she was wonderful.
I still like her take. I still like her take a lot.
100%.
Yeah. But it's just like trying
the
to
script for the Halle Berry one
was god awful. Don't even. I don't know. It took like 20 times for me to watch that movie.
Redo that version in the Wonder Woman 84 with Cheetah. That's literally what Catwoman was.
But to bring it back to this Catwoman, one thing I did find with it was that it had a lot of hints of the long Halloween, the Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb version of Catwoman. I was just just a lot of that on. I was like, okay, there we go. And then her just kind of walking away, and she's got like the hips going. I'm like, that's her Eartha Kitt going.
And I'm looking forward to like if they can go into like the Brubaker style, where like she's like ups her skills and just becomes this like world class thief. Because if you're gonna end the movie with her being if you're gonna end the movie with her being like, let's go knock off some 1%ers, and then she like goes off, I want that story to be, this is how she trained.
That's legit.
Next level.
100%. That's where she's going to Bloodhaven. That's 100% why. She's gonna
I know
become
Bloodhaven.
Bat.
Love hearing it. Love hearing it.
Yeah, that was
dropping
sweet,
that
right?
name.
I think we're gonna
New
get a
Jersey.
little.
I-
Are we gonna get it finally? You think?
True, because we've never seen it. They always talk
No.
about Gotham. The New Jersey of Gotham has never actually been seen.
Yeah,
And
on
it's
film,
just
no.
disrespectful
No.
as New Jersey is treated in the
Makes
real
me
world.
hopeful for Nightwing
fair.
at some point. You know?
It's already
Um,
underwater.
Damn.
No, but speaking of how good casting was, though, I have to say, or acting and storytelling, I thought that the take on Gordon was awesome.
Jeffrey Wright killed it.
He destroyed it. Like he absolutely killed it. I was like,
He's
so impressed.
actually what I thought Gordon was in the comic books. When I actually compare him to all the versions we've gotten, this is how I saw Gordon.
Actually, I really did like him too. It just kind of bothered me a bit that he really kind of took that really low tone voice, like, "Yeah, let's go." Like,
I think that was perfect.
I think it was dropped a little too low. Like he was just trying.
Funny enough, Jaws, I'll let you say it because I think you might be saying the same thing as me.
I was saying that I liked him as Gordon. I feel like he leaned a little bit too hard into his Felix from
Westworld.
No. What was the other movie he did? The James Bond series. The CIA agent that helps out James Bond. Yo, brother, yo, man. But like he doesn't do the brother part. Because, like he does more man. Like he's an old. It feels like he's like maybe a 40, 50-year-old from the he grew up in the 90s, so he's just used to saying man. So it's just like, okay, yeah, I could
still has a high top.
I feel that, yeah. I'll say, yo, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
Were you gonna say before, Brian, that his voice he's deeper than Batman's voice? Is that what
for me, the voice was the thing with the voice for me was Jeffrey Wright himself when he speaks normally kind of speaks like that. Like if you watch his interviews, he kind of does this thing of like sometimes he talks really high, but then there's times where you can tell he's thinking and he goes, well, I think, and he starts to drop his voice a lot. And I feel like
Watcher's voice sound like that in What If?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, there's times in the Watcher where he gets really deep too.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I feel like Jeffrey does that. That's one of the things he does, an inflection he does with his voice with characters.
But how raw he was as like a cop, I was like, that's great. Like I think that's one thing that was great about all the characters, though, that they were all raw. Yeah, definitely. Great.
This connection
he just brought Batman across all the cops, like as if it was nothing.
This connection that he has with the Batman in year 2 makes me go, oh shit! Like, what did they go through together in year 1? Like, I want to know that story because of how
they trust them.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Their friendship makes so much sense without me knowing the background.
And something crazy. And something that's really interesting is that only now Batman's like, okay, you're not a crooked cop.
Yeah.
Only now, like he points that out. He's like, okay, you're actually legit.
It's been 2 years.
Not because all the time
shit.
Yeah, and me contaminating your crime scenes this whole time.
Yeah,
I still don't trust
so, I gotta say, this movie, like the difference between finding the comedic moments and making them so subtle and making it a chuckle and not a full-on laugh was so perfect.
I told you to you should have pulled your punch. I did.
Like that was so well done.
You know what's more messed up about that line is that it's like Batman is what was it? I want to link it to Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Right? So where what's the guy that's playing Ant-Man again? Paul Rudd's character.
Yeah.
He can't punch people because he doesn't knock out the dude first try at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
But was it Paul Molina? I forgot the name of the Hispanic guy that talks really fast and stuff.
Oh, he's like sidekick, yeah.
He's like, oh, I knocked him out in one punch. And then you see him later on in the movie and he's knocking dudes out with one punch.
Yeah.
Because he's that good. And then like Ant-Man has to be taught how to knock out dudes with one punch.
All right.
So he's like, yeah, he's like, I did pull my punch, you got up.
Yeah.
You got up and you met me here on time. I did pull my punch. Like, what are you talking about?
We actually
when the Penguin's being shown the picture. He's just like, I got that out of my face.
The whole interaction with the Penguin was.
And segue to Penguin.
But before we do that, we got to get to a message. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Geektastic Cypher. Geektastic Cypher is brought to you by Nerdstock.
Nerdstock is your premier nerd music festival and is coming June 4th and 5th, 2022 at Paradox Theatre in Montreal.
The festival features bands and artists inspired by nerd culture.
For more information about past shows and updates on the 2022 event, visit shanksevents.ca. That's SHANKS events.ca. Back, folks, back. All right, next segment. What are we talking about now, Toby?
While we were on the topic of characters and trying to get deeper into it, this
Mhm.
does lead us into what we felt worked. And we can start with characters that we felt worked.
Okay. Don't do the Penguin show. That's what I'll say.
Well, that's what didn't work probably for you, right?
Yeah.
But what did work?
That's the thing. Oh, that's what didn't work. Okay, fair. Yeah. Sorry. I'll go back. Catwoman worked.
Okay. Yep.
Selena Kyle being Carmine Falcone's daughter worked.
Ooh.
Worked
I didn't know how I felt about that at first.
I gotta say,
I
don't mind it
later.
I loved it.
It makes sense.
Down with
that.
Yeah,
it makes sense for her character and why she would be how she is.
Yeah. As a way to connect her.
Yeah, I was down with her possibly becoming the Huntress.
Oh, interesting.
But if she actually did shoot him and kill him,
I'm not mad at it.
You can kind of lean into that, but no.
I would be down with it if it wasn't Selena Kyle. Like if they had introduced a different character, but still had that same story, it works. But if you're gonna do Selena Kyle and then make her Huntress, you're gonna just piss off all the nerds in the world. But I love it.
I think it depends on which
which
specific universe.
What don't we know is facts? It went so fast, but Rain confirmed that she's actually is the daughter in the comic books, which I did not know.
Is that
I think it depends on which universe.
Yeah,
though, no?
That's the thing. That's what I was gonna say. I know that it's from what I understood, it was a specific universe. It's not the primary.
Well, it's not consistent throughout.
Now it's in ours. It's canon in ours.
I mean, but that's the thing. It worked for the movie. Like it worked for the movie universe.
Yeah, they went in a different direction with Catwoman. And it's like, yay! Finally, you broke free from the whole like she gets rebirth from cats or something. You finally broke away.
Our big bad, the Riddler.
He worked.
Does he count as a big bad?
Yes. That's my argument. I feel like he's a mastermind in this movie and a puppet master. But he's not a big bad.
He even manipulates Batman. Like
he accomplished what he wanted.
Yeah.
But then the part that doesn't work is that he was mad that he accomplished what he wanted.
No, I think that's part of the psychosis. He flooded the city.
He killed quite a few people, but he didn't get to kill the incumbent, the mayor that's coming in.
Bella Real.
Yeah. What does that matter in the end?
He's a perfectionist.
Yeah, his whole plan didn't come full 100%. People survived.
I'm with you, Jaws. I'm with you, Jaws. If you get 90% on your test, take the 90.
Not if you're the Riddler.
Not if you're a perfectionist.
Not if you're not the.
Yeah,
if you're the Riddler.
I can kind of
see the Riddler. Absolutely not.
I'm so happy I was never a perfectionist.
How long
I can live with a good 90% on that test.
But that's why you're not a man.
Dude, I can live with a 55 on a test. But
good enough. That's why you're not a psycho on the loose. But I feel like my favorite part about the Riddler, it's not even like the things that he, what's it called? The trap that he said, or like the riddles, because the riddles were kind of weak, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I guessed every single
I figured out the riddles.
2 seconds. Yeah, it was like there was no.
I kept turning to my partner and being like, "Justice." That's so.
It was like,
well, no, but that was the whole point. That was the whole
yeah.
point of that scene, just to like make it easy so the guy can actually.
Yeah, he had 3 till he could. Yeah,
and then the last part of the riddle was just like, "Yo, tell me who the rat is." And he's like, "Rather die."
I think what the Riddler did well was, again, the whole grounding someone like this in reality. It's that like that whole having the back channel and people that followed his words that are crazy enough to go out and complete the rest of that mission for him.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes it scary, is that he did have,
like 50 to 20 to 50 people. I think it was
he had a cell.
People,
he had a cell of like soldiers waiting
500
to carry out
followers on his social media, and then like 20 to 50 showed up. Or we're
asking like, what should we bring? What kind of shells? What kind of
what kind of masks? And then like sending each other links on where to get their masks and stuff. I was like, oh, this is some really creepy incel shit. Like, I do not
least
like
they're
how
organized.
well that was depicted.
But that also
Hardcore.
what brings it to today's realistic aspects too, because
Right.
crazy shit
I
like
know.
that happens now in
Yeah,
real
that's what I'm
life.
saying.
Scary.
And then
So-
and then the police only kind of figuring out after the fact, like, oh wait,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Like, it's
Um,
crazy to me, the idea that he was on social media the entire time somewhere, probably telling
the dark
people
net.
what his
On
plan
the
was.
dark net, yeah.
And no one at any point started doing searches for like darknet or, hey guys, maybe let's do a facial recognition with this particular mask because it's a very specific mask.
It's very specific. Very
specific.
You can probably run an Amazon check and see like where
Maybe
Hey guys,
masks.
What's the
preference
easiest
for
detective
sales.
work ever?
Hey, look, he's on Prime.
Yeah,
Gimp
cross-reference
mask
the sales
with
of the mask.
with a clear frame on top of it.
Right. Like,
And those are his
Yeah.
actual glasses. Those are his actual corrective lenses.
How
I thought he
crazy
was
is
wearing
that?
goggles or
That
something.
is so true,
That's
Josh.
so messy.
That
I
like
thought
those
we
are
were-
his-
my god!
I thought
Actual
he was
staying
wearing
in a
diner,
goggles or
right?
something, but no, in the it's like no, those are his straight up
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah.
That's
But
what he
it
Even
wears.
when he was
showed,
in the
it
prison
showed
cell,
the
he
guy
had
was
them.
purely insane. So
God
Yeah.
damn.
It was
But, like,
wild that he was right outside the
hidden in plain
Iceberg
sight.
Lounge.
Yeah,
I thought
Yeah,
that
it
was
was perfect.
genius when they revealed that.
Yeah.
Hidden in
He wasn't
plain
far at
sight.
all.
It's crazy. That's why I felt like someone could do something like this and get away with it for just as long. They'll get caught, but like
Yeah.
they can pull something off like this. It was I love just how grounded it was.
And he
Carmine
also didn't
Falcone.
care. He one quick thing. He also didn't care because usually
Yes.
like murderers are not depicted as people who kill outside their house. And when
Yeah.
you realize that he put a bomb around Gil Colson's neck across the street from where he lives,
Right.
you're like,
Yeah.
man, dude, like you live across the street.
It was
That's
so
not
easy for him.
Was he more Joker than the Joker in this movie?
He's there's I know some people were leaning on the idea that this was more a Joker's Riddler than a Riddler in the
It's very
classic
interesting.
Riddler sense.
And
And I like the idea of like, but I'll say this: the Joker is set in anarchy, and the Riddler
And
was set
randomness.
in using the anarchy, but was still structured in his anarchy. Like he's
Yeah.
using
Right,
the
right.
idea of-
Joker
one's
created-
wild, one's controlled.
Yeah, Joker
Yeah.
created the anarchy while Riddler used the anarchy, which was created by the Joker type thing.
Organized chaos.
yeah. Well, except there's no Joker in this.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
That's
What
out
I
on the
found
street,
for like that comment though, like if you look at the Riddler and because like I'm actually a relatively big fan of Riddler. If you look at even like Jim Carrey's Riddler, the 1966 Riddler, and if you actually read the comic books, like when he becomes sophisticated, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
He is batshit crazy, just like how he is right now. And
Mhm.
over time, because he thinks he's smart. Well, I mean, he is very smart.
I mean,
but-
he's smart. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm not going to take that away. Is he the smartest person on earth? No, in
No.
the comics, but he's very smart individual. As he develops that knowledge of realizing how smart he is and also applying it is how he becomes mature. Until
Yeah.
then, he's just as childish. Like perfect
Yeah.
example when Jim Carrey in Forever, when he punches a guy, he's like, "Ow."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how the Riddler is at first, and then over time, he's like, "I know how to throw a punch because now I'm smart and I know it's a
Yeah.
I
an
learned
art
it.
form."
And
Yeah, I can
understand the
see
mechanics
this
behind the
version of
punch.
Joker having the same kind of scene you just mentioned and reacting in the same kind of this Riddler reacting in the same kind of way you just said after throwing a punch. I could see him kind of wincing and like having this childish
hurting
reaction
himself.
to that,
Mind you,
which makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, but he also is the type of guy similar to like the war of jokes and riddles, like that version of Riddler who is like manipulating people, structuring organized attacks, and is like getting his hands dirty. Like to think to use the weapon at the beginning when you kill the mayor Mitchell, so that when you get caught, that weapon would have been a hint for you to know to lift the carpet to see the final stage is insane of how many steps you think these people will figure out. But and I like that he says to Batman, "Oh, you're not as smart as I like. Oh, you didn't get it? Like, oh, damn it. I put all my hope on someone being smart and you're not smart enough."
Yeah.
But he's not as smart as he thinks he is either. And the reason I say that is because he had the Batman and Bruce Wayne, and he had the link in front of his eyes
and let it go
to connect who Batman was in real life.
It's like we let him go.
But the problem is He is so infuriated with Bruce Wayne. Oh, this poor kid with all this money in his mansion. Oh, boo-hoo, your parents, but you have money. I have nothing. Bruce Wayne, like
he can't see past.
Yeah,
and he also can't process the idea that he admires something
Bruce Wayne. Oh my god! If he knew if he knew Batman was Bruce Wayne, he would just kill himself. He couldn't handle that. He would not stand.
That's what I'm saying.
This guy I admired, I think is super smart as me. And he's getting all my jokes in there. You're Bruce.
He's like Bizarro Flash from Spider-Man. You know,
Flash. That's what I was just gonna say. That is very much a Flash way of the situation where finding out
Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
Okay. And the new version of Spider-Man hates Peter but loves Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But so can you imagine that like process of going through that? You're right. I think the Riddler would have snapped even.
He'd have been like, no, this is not right. Let me just redo this. No, it's not. No.
Yeah.
Great
just
setup
throws
though,
it in the
that
trash.
scene.
No, but
this scene that Ray was talking about where Batman and
the exchange
Riddler
between Riddler and Batman though insane. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Exactly.
Like that moment where, first of all, when Gordon gets the call when he's in the apartment and he thinks it's that Riddler is baiting him out, was Pattinson's ability to convey fear with the cowl on. Like, how do you convey fear dressed as Batman? I've never seen Batman scared, but you felt it in that moment because in his eyes you saw like, oh fuck.
He even said it ends tonight or something along those lines, right?
Yes, exactly. He 100% thought I'm fucked.
Thought it was over.
And then he's just like, oh, he's calling for you to go see him. And then it's like, okay, gets there. And he's now also doubly sure. They cut between him looking at Riddler, looking at the camera, realizing this is about to end. This is it. It's done. And then the flip in that moment when he realizes, oh shit, this dude doesn't know that I'm Batman. That was
so cool because
I just thought
Chef
how like this is the first time I can remember seeing actual fear in Batman's eyes in any iteration.
Yep.
On top of that, Batman wasn't afraid of dying at any point, but he's afraid of being exposed.
Yes.
He's afraid of being exposed, and he was also afraid of losing Alfred.
Yes.
Because before Alfred got the bomb on him, he was like, you need cufflinks to go to this thing. He's like, whatever. And he's like, well, here, take mine. And he's like, wait, how come you have Wayne cufflink? It's like, your dad gave you idiot. Your dad gave them to me, man.
Well, he said you're not a Wayne.
Yeah, there's a few times.
He's like, I'm a Wayne enough for your dad to give me these cufflinks. So shut up and take them and go to the funeral.
I wanted Alfred to smack him in the back of the head so hard to be like, bitch, I raised you, shut your ass up. Like,
I taught you how to fight.
Dude,
like
it made
this
me so
version
mad.
of Alfred taught him everything he knows.
Made me so mad.
Yeah, he was a serviceman. He was part of. Was he part of MI6 or what? Like, what's his backstory?
British intelligence.
Intelligence.
Okay. But can I ask a question?
That's like similar to Gotham, the Fox version.
Can I ask a question? Exactly. A character that we always see in the films. What's the impression of the car now that you actually got to see it in the film?
The car was its own beast.
Do you have anything to say?
The car was its own beast. I love how I love how the car got introduced. It's just some dude is in the alleyway and then the car's just screaming like a banshee with flames coming out. Why is flames coming out of the front of the
it was a jet engine.
When the engine's in the back.
A jet engine.
As I put in my post after I came back, the only thing I was able to say, I said the car was boss.
Yeah,
that thing was a beast, and I loved it.
At
first, when I saw like the preview shots and all that, first like, what the fuck did they do?
That's what I thought.
And then and I'm like, what the hell is that? And then in the movie, when it starts up, and you're like, what's that sound? What is that beautiful, angry, growling? What the fuck is that? And then the whole chase scene, I'm like
just
I was drooling.
Darkness,
I was like, I'm gonna go out. And then the next day, I went out and bought the
darkness. You see the darkness,
Batmobile,
and you start to see the flames, and you're just like, and you want to just be like, it's just a Batmobile, but it's like it looks like a Batmobile with teeth right off the bat. It looks like
that thing looked like it was going to eat you.
And then when he starts like driving and drifting in it, you're just like, that thing's got too much ass, but you know how to drive it, son. Like he knew how to manage
just
the
rear-engined jet engine. But the only thing about the chase scene I would kind of complain about is that he lucked out. No, that he lucked out on the ramp coming right in front of him.
He
the ramp lucked out. It would have been really crazy and cool if he drove through the tanker, explosion, he just drives.
But it was Penguin who killed people.
That would be I was gonna say everyone keeps saying Batman doesn't kill, and I was just like, Penguin's the one that actively.
Guys,
Penguin gets on the highway going
the
wrong
way. There's a reason over here anyway. The cops stop chasing you after a certain period of time because eventually you start putting everyone else around you in danger. Whether or not you're the one who swerved in front of the car that made them go out of control, you're still chasing the car to the point where they pulled off a crazy maneuver.
I will never accuse you are responsible for your own actions. If I'm chasing you and you keep running, that's you. I'm not making you run. The cops aren't making these people run.
But there's also Batman's a high chance that they could crash out anyway.
Exactly. You don't have to pay attention to that rule.
It's just because you gave the example that the cops stopped chasing because this happens. Sure, cops can make that decision because property damage.
But a regular person shouldn't. Okay,
because I think that did.
I'm not responsible for the Penguin driving like that.
Hold on, I do know that. I think it was in Cleveland that happened where the cops were chasing somebody and normally they're supposed to just let it go, but then for some reason like 2 precincts went after one person and caused damage and this and that. It was just nuts, and normally they're not supposed to do that, and for some reason just for one guy they sound like a whole precinct or a bunch of them after this one guy. So like after a while it's like, there's no real point. Like, okay, cool, you caught the guy, but
benefit. I get it.
You almost killed a bunch of people.
I'm just saying, I'm of the mind that people are responsible for their own actions. Like whenever I watch a movie and someone's just like, these debts are all on your hands because if you don't do what I want, I'm just like, kill them then because that's your decision. I'm not responsible. You can't tell me. If I don't do X, I will kill people.
Hold on,
your responsibility.
But it's so different.
I'm not killing them.
No way.
In relation,
Toby, I do. It's not my
damage
responsibility.
Control exists for a reason in the Marvel universe. You want to know why? Because heroes are constantly flying through buildings and fighting people in cityscapes, and people die, and they are responsible.
It's all explained in The Boys.
Wasn't that what the whole Accords were for in Marvel? That was the whole point of the Accords, to hold them accountable for if they're just jumping to over different any
then
place.
You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, hold on. You guys are talking about two different things.
I don't know about that.
Penguin driving on the highway and Batman chasing him. Penguin's responsible for killing people.
Batman didn't have to catch Penguin that night.
Penguin was driving like a maniac regardless of that. He would have driven like that.
Get away from Batman.
I'm not sure I understand how Batman is responsible for Penguin driving.
I disagree. I'm fully on board with Ryan.
Let's put
Penguin
choosing. Why are you defending? Are you a Penguin lover?
This is the movie.
It's just for me. It's weird. Like,
well, okay, so I understand.
Penguin is actively choosing to do something bad. But Batman's responsible because Penguin made the conscious decision to drive to work in the drug industry, to risk people's lives. That's Batman's fault.
Let's put it more in a context of like the hunter-prey. Like in the animal kingdom world, people and all that, you have the hunter that chases the prey. The prey will constantly run from the hunter to avoid the consequences of what the hunter will do. So even in a chase scene, like cops chasing a bad guy, the bad guy will do whatever it takes not to suffer the consequences.
That doesn't apply here because humans... No, guys, I'm not going to fucking argue about animals in the wild versus human beings who have conscious thought. They're completely different things.
Can I bring a point up?
The person who came up with the idea of the alpha male and alpha animals literally realized that he was wrong, redacted his whole thing, and people said, yeah, but we already like what you said, so we're going to stick with it. All of that shit
I don't mean
bullshit. Like
can I
that's like
bring
saying
up...
there's a justice system and that's why people kill people. Like that
exactly.
Like,
Can I just bring up a point that did happen in the movie?
Sure.
So
yeah, because Batman didn't kill anybody. Yes,
so
you're right.
so Batman. Remember, Batman stopped Selena Kyle from using guns.
Yeah.
Like, hey, no, don't kill him. You're gonna regret it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe the scene. I think the scene after that or before that. Oh yeah, they were in the orphanage, and then Gordon pulls out his gun, and Batman's like, "No guns, Gordon," and he's like, "That's a you thing. That's not a me thing,
yeah,
man."
I'm yeah,
shut up. That's a you thing, man. They kept going.
That was great. Yeah, it's just like I don't have bulletproof armor, dude. What are you talking about? Like,
that's a you thing.
Speaking of which, that arm was wild.
Yeah, that armor is beautiful. I gotta say,
for a Batman suit.
Well, because like they never did it that way. Always when he gets shot, he kind of like has to fall down. This one, it took a shock into the chest for him to feel it.
It's pretty much vibranium at this point, man.
Yeah,
it evolved. It evolved. Remember in the 89 movie, he gets shot and he plays dead. And he's got some kind of body armor, and then he gets up and he beats up everybody because they get close enough to him so he could just take them all out.
But was that the scene? Was that the scene where he had the tray all over him? Yeah.
That was. Are you talking about the scene where he had the tray?
No.
Remember, he had the tray under his. Okay.
Yeah. But no, he's wearing the Batman armor, and he gets shot with like a revolver, and he purposely plays dead. And he's like, "What the?" And they get up, and they use the revolver, and they tap his body, and it's like, he's got some kind of body armor, and he gets up, and he beats up everybody.
Like Devin was saying, like
fully
automatic weapon. Yeah, this dude was just like, people are just holding it straight at him in that hallway, and he's just like what?
You saw the strafe of the machine gun across his chest.
Yeah, seriously.
You saw like.
So it was only
it's like you were doing Zorro, and they're like,
it was only a 12 gauge, and he gets it to his chest. It's a close range.
Finally,
he's like,
would just be like, shoot him in the jaw, shoot him in
the jaw. RoboCop.
Yeah. Question: did you guys think the thing he injected himself with was venom? Bane's
it was. Definitely, I thought it was adrenaline. Some drugs.
It was adrenaline. It was adrenaline
adrenaline. Not green.
I don't think it's venom.
Venom is green.
It could be. I don't think it's venom, but it could be along that line. It could be along that line. But I don't. It's adrenaline for sure, but it could be along that line where it's not venom yet, but it's like
that's fair. Early, like an early version of venom.
Yeah.
That
we could see that Wayne Industries has some kind of chemical compound that was developed that could do this, and then at some point, some version of Bane or someone steals it, and that's
I'm down for that.
Venom.
I'm down. Just a giant vial of PCP. Just.
Hey man!
Like in Kick-Ass.
He knew exactly. He knew there was a point he was going to need something to get him out of a situation.
On his suit that just opens up to that part in his thigh.
It was so good. It was so good. That was one of my favorite parts. The fact that he has a plan for it, like. I was like, "Oh shit, this dude like injects."
I just need my body.
Thought of everything.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. He didn't really think about. So there was a scene where like he was in a cop station. I'm surprised they took that long to even want to take his mask off.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
You think Gordon was the one who was stopping him from doing it the whole time? But that was a long time that he was out.
Yeah, I think it was Gordon. Like Gordon, I think
that was a little hard for me
the whole time. I was like, just leave him alone. Don't touch the mask. I know in the Begins trilogy. They touch the mask and they get electrocuted. So maybe later on, it's like, okay, I
thought that's what was going to happen. By the way, I was expecting some kind of like electrocution situation when they try to take it off.
This Batman gets knocked out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Can I just like switch it real quick? What we thought of Penguin?
Yes.
I think we really should talk. I personally thought Colin Farrell did a great job.
He brought out his inner Robert De Niro.
That was amazing.
But it was good. It was very appropriate how he was influenced, because he's obviously going to be influenced by like the Italian mafia. So it makes sense that he's taking on like certain attributes. And to me, the scene where he's the one I made reference to before, when they're trying to show the picture, that scene was like perfect. I'm like, everything, single movement, word he said was exactly what I expected. He showed all different versions of the Penguin in that moment, to be honest, like between Adam West to comic book to like
I felt
you're talking about when he's like attached to the bridge, the pylon, and they're talking to him.
I think
that was
brilliant. That was so good.
Yeah, because that's when they're trying to show him like the murder scene. He's like,
you're the pigeon.
Okay, that's what you're talking
pigeon.
about.
Yeah. But I think what was cool.
They showed him pictures earlier too. That's why I wanted to make sure.
Okay, but that's
what was really cool too is the fact what I think they kind of took the element from Gotham, where he's like this lower ranking mob guy.
Yeah,
and then they brought it into that movie. He's like more like this lower ranking mob guy, and he's only going to. And at the end, he's like
he's the right hand man to the main guy in this.
Yeah. But it was, I gotta say though, the smiling and the like when he's making fun of them, like, you idiots don't even understand what this Riddler guy doesn't understand grammar. It's that
was so
some
good.
Of that stuff was so well. Like again, the small comedic moments.
They did. Honestly, I didn't see very many holes in this movie.
Just really quick for comedic moments, when they left him there, did you guys catch that comedic moment where he was like,
where
"You're
he
gonna leave me here,"
like a penguin,
and he waddles like a penguin?
Yeah, he does.
He's like,
that was great.
And that's the only way you could do that and not make it seem stupid, right?
Exactly.
Like, how do you have him waddle any other time? That was perfect.
Well, the guy was tied up, so it made sense.
Yeah.
Can we say that the Carmine Falcone sort of story before we actually move on to talking about the sequels at this point?
Yeah.
But the Carmine Falcone story with sort of how the Wayne family foundation is really what was funding all of Gotham's crime underworld.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
that was really
crazy.
good.
Crazy.
And it makes reasons why they would kill him and everything, but this, like I said, this movie was raw and it set a precedence. All the characters set a precedence in a bar, and how the story and everything in this movie really set a bar. Like why things happen.
It all weaved well together. That's why I said there were no holes. It's like there was not one thing I could stick on and go, I had a problem with that.
Yeah,
they all gelled into each other.
That's why I agree. As much as I always say it's too long, because it is too long as a movie.
It's long.
Yeah. It's hard to figure out,
but it's hard to figure out
what to cut. I know.
So I think there's a lot of scenes where they.
And he
I think there's a lot of scenes where it
by the way, the
lingers.
director's cut would be 6 hours.
Jaws.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sorry, what did you say, Jaws?
I was saying I think there's a lot of scenes where it lingers, but I think he purposely does that because if you were to cut stuff, I would see like the waddling part. They would have cut that.
That's fair.
You know, but you're like, no, we need that. Or like just his reactions to stuff. They would have cut.
Him walking through the scenes and taking like recordings of it, like he really wanted you to see Batman's process and feel that.
Yeah,
and I think he accomplished that.
Just one more funny scene that I thought was really funny at the end, where Catwoman's like, "Yo, come with me to Bloodhaven," and then we could just leave this place. Like, why be in Gotham? It's terrible. And then the signal goes up, and she looks at it, and I felt. The way she looked at Batman was like, clearly I'm the side piece and Gotham is your woman.
100%. 100%.
I thought that was funny
Selena,
as hell. She's like,
I think Selena understands that, like, because doesn't she even say something akin to like, oh, you're already like connected to someone, or your heart's already with someone? What does she say?
That Gotham's already got your heart.
Yeah, that's it. Gotham's already got your heart. Like, I think she understands that. I think
someone,
and I think that's okay. Whereas now, do they want to do these spin-offs where they do a Penguin spin-off, they do a Catwoman spin-off, that's my thing.
The Catwoman spin-off will be the Bloodhaven work, which is why I think that happened. They want us to see how she becomes in her world and her life after this. I get that. I don't know if I care for it, but because of how well she did in this movie, I'll probably give it a shot.
I think it's too many though that they're talking about.
Yeah,
because they were supposed to do the police thing, which is now being turned into like an Arkham horror thing.
Oh yeah,
I think it's canceled, right? The police one?
The police aspect is canceled, but they're transitioning the ideas because they were like the Arkham aspect of it started to be the more interesting part. So they're going to do an Arkham horror part. They want to do a Catwoman thing, and they want to do a Penguin. Too many. You don't need.
Well, here's a simple solution.
Can you really do it
one at a time?
Yeah,
Devin.
For the Arkham thing, I would just approach the guys from American Horror Story. Add the Arkham in your story. There you go.
That's true.
But
American Horror Story Arkham.
But you're gonna do what are you gonna do with Arkham? The only way Arkham would be useful is if you're literally building villains, so that when you make the movie, you don't have to explain them.
But
that's not what the purpose of it.
That's exactly why they're doing Penguin, and that's exactly why they're doing Catwoman, because Penguin will allow you to build up the Penguin story. So by the time you get to a movie, he's already a boss. He's already running things potentially. When you get to the movie, you don't have to really use the movie to build his story. And same thing with Catwoman.
But the thing is, how many seasons do you try to make between movies? Like, you know what I mean?
One season each.
I would hope they do a mini series or limited series.
Series.
I'm down. 6 episodes. You don't need more than that for each.
I don't think you need to do all the limited series now. That's the problem. I think hearing that they want to do 3 after one movie, guys, you got to let it breathe. This is the same mistake DC does every time. They try and fast.
But we don't say that about Marvel. Marvel has TV shows in between movies now that really explain and bleed into the movies, and I think I think with the world, I think
20 films.
I know, but hear me out. I think
with this movie,
exactly, they can't wait 20 films, and I truly believe.
I don't need them to.
Yeah, like with this movie and what the world they've opened up, I can allow those 3 shows to exist for 6 episodes before the next movie, so that we can actually focus on other things in that next movie.
And if what you're saying is if it's well spread out and that it's done like how Mandalorian Boba Fett's done, where it's all the chapters,
it weaves, right?
I'm down. So like, you know, kind of a blend between what you and Devin just said. American Horror Story Gotham. Let's do the Catwoman story for this season. Let's do Penguin story for this season. Let's do an Arkham focus season for this and it's all one series that has different focus. Anthology style, sold.
That would definitely. That's exactly the way I was going at it. About with the American Horror Story.
Do you guys feel that? Do you guys feel that this movie, like, you know, everyone's saying that it was too long? Do you feel like maybe it could have worked as like a True Detective story kind of like series, and then, you know, like it kind of feels like again that that podcast I was listening to, Waypoint, they were saying that it felt like this was like a comic book arc that was 6 issues long, like 6 months long, and they kind of crammed it into the 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
At first, if you guys don't mind, when I first saw it, because it literally took, like, there's even some parts today I'm still digesting about the movie, but when I first saw it, 3 hours long, I'm like, I think this could have been. I was debating, could have this been a 2-parter? But then no, I think that would have been just too much. And could they shorten it? No, because it was too intricate. There's too much intertwined. There was too much story. So I think the time worked for this, but adding anything more.
You got to trim some of the fat, though. Like, I know, I get what you're saying, but I understand, like Joss D and Toby were saying, like, the waddling. Fun for us adds more time. Him walking through every scene. Fun for us adds more time. You don't need to show how the lens on his contacts work 2 or 3 times in the movie. You showed it
for the big screen, yes, maybe trim that, but then bring it out as a director's cut with those extra scenes in there.
Yeah, see, what we got was a director's cut.
Yeah.
I don't want.
I felt spoiled from that. I was like, ballsy. Finally, I get to see everything.
Yeah,
that is ballsy.
That's
ballsy.
It was ballsy to linger. Yeah, it was ballsy to linger on a lot of scenes, even fight scenes. Like, I have to say, there were certain times like I could spot, you know, the guy waiting his turn to jump into the fight, right? It was like they could have done a little bit more cutting there, I feel.
Yeah, a little tighter.
Again, I get it. Like, you can't just do it in one scene and then everything else lingers. You know what I mean? Like, it's the flow of the movie, and you can't really take away from that. So they probably did cut the right amount. It felt just a little long, but I still felt it was okay.
I don't want to hear that there is a director's cut and that they release it later. I do not want to hear that. What we got now as 3 hours should be the director's cut.
Yeah.
People were lucky they got a Snyder's cut. They were
this whole thing I'm hearing about how, well, there was more Joker scenes. I don't care. Don't release that.
You don't need.
We didn't
you already got.
It was perfect as it is.
Yeah, you don't need more Joker. Did anyone stay towards the end?
Yeah.
Towards like after the credits.
There's a little code that said goodbye or something.
There was goodbye, and then it kind of flashes really quick as if it's like go to the Lada.com website or something like that. And you can see
it's a real website.
If you go to the website and you encode it, you get a bunch of dates, and people are certain that the dates reference to comic book releases and stuff. Cool. Like there's like things on dates, and it's like this is the reference. This is like
right around the corner too. So
well, it's more that they're like. This is references of, some of them are blatant references of what was in the movie, and some weren't in the movie. So some people are thinking, are these hints to what these comic books will influence? Like one, I think, is potentially that apparently Two-Face is definitely going to be in the next one, because there's one that is Two-Face's first appearance date. That's what's a rumor. But speaking of that, what are you guys thinking about the potential sequel or thoughts of the next sequel?
I think okay, if Two-Face is in it, you're hearing that it's a rumor, right?
Again, picture.
Yeah, I feel like there is a setup that was made very subtly for the Court of Owls, and I think we're gonna get more setup of the Court of Owls in the second one. That's like the whole powerful family controlling everything in the back, like that whole thing. And then we're gonna have like that's such a sick villain for Batman. It's incredible. Like I'm looking forward to that.
They did a variety type interview, the cast, and they were like answering fan questions, and one of the fan questions, they were reading fan theories, and one of the fan theories was about the Court of Owls. And anytime it was a fan question that linked to something that inspired, you could tell the cast was trying not to spoil it, but was kind of like tongue-in-cheeking, like this. Like at one point they're just like, is this question from Matt Reeves directly, as in like this question is obviously like insight into the movie. So I think it's a beautiful villain to have, the Talon, another
like forgotten child of Gotham to be the villain, you know what I mean? That to me,
another flying villain, Falcon, Penguin.
I also liked how when the Riddler was doing his big reveal about the corruption, and it says "hush" in big letters on the screen. I'm like, yeah, you did that for us. Yeah, I get it. Just hush.
They changed the name Edward Elliot instead of Thomas Elliot, but I guess more because they didn't want to confuse people. But I'm down
but I don't know, guys. I have like a wild, not necessarily theory, but personal hope. I think that this might be because I think they're going to go at least a trilogy route. If not, they're going to do like segments of trilogies. Because if Matt Reeves wants to do this for the Dawn of Time, go for it. You're doing a good job so far. But I think this might be a Riddler mastermind trilogy. So hear me out for 2 seconds. The next movie is going to be basically year 0 / No Man's Land, 0 year, sorry. Which now they've hinted it could be, because in 0 year a lot of things happen and you see a lot of bad guys. Which also makes sense that they're making the TV shows in Arkham. So if they're showing you all the bad guys, it would make sure that all the bad guys are out. What better one to be the mystery being Talon, for example, while the Riddler and the Joker have their little war of jokes kind of thing happen at the same time.
Supposedly, Matt Reeves says he doesn't plan to bring Joker.
He doesn't plan to, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. And then the third movie, I think, is going to be Hush. Which is because, as Jaws D pointed out, Riddler does not know who Batman is. If by the end of the next movie he's able to like let everyone else do their own thing so that he could do his own thing and find out who the Batman is. If at the end of the next movie Riddler finds out who Batman is, what better way to fuck with him than to do the story arc of Hush?
That's a perfect idea. I would be down. I think I'm down. I want to see it. I mean, I don't want Matt Reeves to have carte blanche and just make movies forever.
I was joking.
I'm a little concerned with when anyone starts to just get Bryan Singer. You did too long with the X-Men movies. They maybe should have considered letting someone else come in. But we'll see what can happen. I think sometimes the whole joke is sometimes you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And
you might actually be right about 0 year though.
These directors,
as I think about it, there's the Dark City.
0 year is the one that ends with the flood. That's why it's very
and No Man's Land is when the National Guard comes in, which they're announcing at the end. So
0 year came from a Cataclysm story. So
I don't see where Two-Face fits in any of this.
Actually,
myself.
If we're being
where I kind of see this going. This first movie, I think this was a great starting for development of characters. Bruce Wayne, I think for the next one might go leaning more towards being Bruce more than being the angry emo side. I think he might develop more that the philanthropist, the playboy and stuff like that coming now that
that's where the hope. That's where the hope.
I think that's where Bruce is going to start being more of a Bruce. But at the same time,
that is how a white man would think. Hope. Like, let me show people what my wealth is.
Yeah.
I'm inspiring.
It takes a rich guy to do that, but But at the same time, I think
everyone's dealing with the drowned
I
city.
like the idea
It's
of
just
the
spending
Court of
money.
Owls. The Court of Owls idea I think is awesome. But correct me, wouldn't this be kind of an opportune time that Azrael might show up?
Ooh.
Why Batman failed the city and it needs to be cleaned
Too
up?
soon, though. Too soon.
It
But he
might be
doesn't-
too soon, but
He doesn't
it
feel
could
like he
be-
failed the city.
No, but he doesn't feel like he failed the city, but Azrael always thought that Batman was a failure.
Yeah, but he only approached Batman when it was more of a public opinion, and the public opinion
Yeah.
is that he did everything that he could,
don't
and that
think
is really
it's-
that was just.
But we don't
Yeah.
really know what the public opinion is right now. We know what the
Yeah, we
opinion
do.
is.
He's on
They
the
were-
roof
they were-
carrying
yeah,
bodies.
like,
People.
They
Literally
yeah,
have the
those
they could spin it.
there.
No, he has a
They-
point. They could spin it if they wanted to. They
could
could,
spin it.
but like if you do that, you're
That's a
deciding
lot
to
of
go.
work,
You're,
man.
you're
Stretch. It's a stretch.
to
Yeah.
step back on what you're doing.
We've seen worse happen for less in the real world.
But like
Yeah.
he guides out, he literally saves the mayor and guides her through the darkness with the light of hope. How are you gonna try?
But I
and
know,
spin
but that's
this
only
guy into
a very
villain after-
few people that witnessed that or were
Sure,
part
but
of
she's
that.
the
But at
mayor.
the grand scale,
Yeah, but
Well, she's
you
the
know,
mayor by
it's like-
default.
yeah, but
Because the
then-
other dude's
Oh,
dead.
dude,
Oh,
Yeah.
Who else are they voting for?
But then
two
the
words
average,
in the
then the
language.
average,
Flood? Who else are they voting for? The flood?
she don't count.
and then the average person's like, "Oh, this is just politics. What the fuck does she know? She's just playing politics. She's a liar." It's like it's all a conspiracy.
I don't know,
Racist
man.
and feminist guys. I don't know what you guys are doing right now.
You know what, guys? Whether or not you're right about she has no competition, she still won.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's
but
all
I'm just
the way
saying.
around.
I'm saying like
And now, as the mayor of the city, she has the air of the people and will be able to talk up Batman if she wants, or talk him down, which is fair. I just think it would be weird that in a situation where he literally just saved her from being electrocuted and or drowned, it'd be
Well,
weird
remember-
to turn on her.
Well,
remember,
they
she
did
wasn't the
that
first
in-
person to reach out her hand. It was
They
the
did
kid.
that in
And
the
everyone
Oh, I
else
know,
followed
I
suit.
know, I know.
And she had a shot in her abdomen.
Is
She
Bella
made
Real
people like, "Yes,
someone in the
please take me."
comics that we should know?
No, I didn't see.
The name sounds familiar, but I never really looked into it. But this was definitely her Lyndon Johnson moment for sure.
But the
The guy who was
whole
president after
concept of
JFK
the
died.
city, like turning their back, they kind of did that in the original Ghostbusters. Remember, they saved the city, and then in part 2, they're flat broke. They're doing children's parties. Like these
Yeah.
ungrateful yuppies. It's like we killed a 100-foot tall marshmallow man, and they don't even know who the
you
fuck
are
we are.
talking about an asshole politician
Yeah.
who already didn't like them, and the city council was trying to. But anyways, we don't have enough time.
It depends if they time jump. To be honest, it depends if they
Mhm.
time jump.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. If they do a
We
big
rank
enough-
it.
But anyways, definitely a developing story.
I don't know
think we're gonna
if
see
we have
more of the
enough time to
characters
rank all
develop.
the movies. There's
We
5
don't have
less.
to discuss.
We
Okay,
don't have to
rank.
We're
discuss. Just
literally
rank.
just ranking, no discussion.
I'll rank.
Cool.
I'll do rank.
Who wants to go first?
Dave,
I'll go
apparently.
first. Well, because I'll set a precedent, I guess. Dark Knight. This movie. This movie and Keaton tie because I can't decide which one has a bit
You have to
more
pick one.
precedent. Okay, then Dark Knight. Keaton. This
Mm-hmm.
Batman. Begins, Forever, Returns, Adam West, 66, Dark Knight Rises, then Batman Robin.
Yeah, okay. That's a good one. Jaws?
Oh, Batman Robin made it onto your list.
It
The
lasts.
Batman movie.
It's part. It's
That's
part.
the
It's part
order.
of it.
It's
I'm
the
not-
last
I'm- no,
movie.
I'm not even
it's not the
listing the-
first, Brian.
I'm not even listing the movies that I would put that low. I'm only giving you the best. Like,
Okay,
Oh.
that's fine.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
I'm giving you. I'm giving you the cream at the top. I'm not giving.
I
you the-
I gave all the live action movies that happened since Adam West. That's what
Yeah,
I
that's
yeah.
fine.
That's right.
What about you,
Okay.
Jaws?
89. I'm gonna say probably Begins because I like the inner workings of Bruce.
Okay.
This movie, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, cool. Top 3. Nice.
Yeah.
4?
Just
3?
top 3. Yeah.
3. Yeah. Devin, do you have a ranking?
Yeah. The Nolan Batman Begins, part 2,
Dark Knight.
The Batman, and 89.
Nice. Brian?
The Dark Knight, the Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins.
Oh my. Wait. The Dark Knight Rises?
Yep.
Over Batman
Yeah.
Begins?
Yeah.
No
I
discussion.
remember Brian likes The Dark Knight
discussion.
Rises.
No discussion.
No discussion.
discussion.
You're wild. You're wild. No
That's a
discussion.
discussion.
You're wild.
Damn.
Dave,
Okay.
your
All
list
right.
didn't even make sense, and you threw in
No,
a
it
movie
didn't.
that
It
shouldn't even
didn't.
count as a movie. Moving on.
There.
Wow.
There. I'm down for the
Moving on.
discussion.
Rude.
It's not meant to be a movie. It's the worst Batman movie ever. Anyway,
Burn.
Brian.
All right, mine.
Rude.
I'm gonna go. I'm
Damn
gonna
right
go
it
with
was
the dark.
rude, because I heard no discussion and had my list.
No, I'm just saying that's
crushed.
it. Rude.
Well, you
That's
kind
it.
of discussed
Moving on.
Dave's list a little bit, though. So I think that was fair on Dave's
That was
part.
more a question of he.
And the belt goes to.
All right,
Toby, hit
my
us.
list. My list.
Money in the
Dark
bank.
Knight. Dark Knight. The Batman. So this one, I think moves up my list a little bit. Batman Begins.
Okay.
Batman Returns. I
Okay,
loved
yeah.
that movie as a kid.
Great
and I'm going to
movie.
put 89 right after that. Then Dark Knight Rises. Then Batman Forever. Bat versus Soups. And then Batman and Robin at the end.
I would put Batman and Robin before Bat versus Soups, but
Oh,
let's keep
wow.
going.
Ooh.
Now
In
you like it.
rewatchability, yes. In
Now you like
You don't
it
want to
now,
have
right?
a discussion,
I
but you
didn't
say
want
to
something
like
like that?
Shit on something.
Now you
So guys,
like
that was
it.
the whole show.
To be discussed, to be continued another time.
The
See how
debate
angry
for
people are
another
next
time,
week.
folks. Make
We'll
sure
be back for part 2.
same bat time, same bat channel.
All right, I
Oh,
cleared my
no.
calendar for this one.
No.
Folks, once again, we want to always thank you guys for tuning in. We had a lot of fun. I mean, the Batman, as you can tell, I think it's fair to say we're all recommending people go see this film.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've watched this, you've seen the film. Because if you haven't watched this and listened to this, I mean, thanks. We appreciate the support, but we spoiled a lot. Like nothing's gonna be a surprise. That movie's gonna end.
What's wrong with you?
Like, we even gave you the post credit scene with the
I
codes.
solved
and
it.
Yeah, like we spoiled every aspect of the movie we could spoil for you.
I
Last
did like
spoiler.
I did
Bruce
like the
Wayne's
special thanks.
Batman.
I did like the special thanks in the movie. That was really nice. They had
For
Tim
real.
Sale, the Jeff Lowe. They had like all the writers,
yeah,
artists.
yeah.
That was really nice. I did like that.
Pay the mans. They
Definitely
just give him
making
credit,
that
but
much
don't give him money.
Oh, damn, so sad. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Devin, you want to tell people one more time the dates? Who, what, when, where, why? Nerdstock.
June 4th, 5th, Paradox Theater in Montreal and Monk Streets. All details and tickets at www.nerdstockfest.com. It is the ultimate music and convention festival that's happening, all geek related, all ages too.
Bong, y'all. Guys, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, we want to thank our sponsor, Nerdstock, and we look forward to doing another episode for you guys very soon. Make sure you tune in every week. And to anyone who's watching us on Twitch, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the Twitch views.
Hold up, before you sign out.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Batman.